All right, we're going to finish up our series Roots today, which we're really excited about. If you haven't been here, again, impactchurchmd.com/series. You can check it out there as well. But what we've basically been talking about is our foundation and our roots are so important. That the root produces your fruit. That what you show people, what everyone else sees, the fruit in your life, that is produced not by anything having to do with the fruit. It all has to do with the root. And we've been talking about our four core values, our four roots of our church to accomplish this mission statement. Our mission statement is to help those that don't know Jesus to be impacted by him and help those that already know Jesus to make an impact through him. So week 2, we talked about worship. That's one of our main core values, that we should have a lifestyle of worship, that worship shouldn't be limited to us here on a Sunday morning, but it should be our entire life. Week 2, we talked about community, and a lot of you got plugged into small groups, which I'm so excited you guys joined some impact groups this year. We have another one starting. I wanted to let you guys know, another one starting this Wednesday. It's only once a month. Is our Enneagram group that's starting this Wednesday. So if you're interested in that, that's a self-assessment thing that has really helped a lot of us. So if you are interested in that and you can't join a group every single week, this is only once a month. So this would be a perfect fit for you. It's Wednesdays. It's right down the street from here. Be at 7 o'clock. If you want to sign up for that, you can go to the iPad and sign up afterwards, or impactchurchmd.com/groups. Last week we talked about serving, about service, and how we should be serving others, how that's important. And then this week, we're going to be talking about our last core value, which is leadership. Leadership. That's our last core value. See, no matter who you are, no matter what job you have, no matter what you do in life, no matter who you are a leader. No matter what your responsibilities are, no matter what you think of yourself, you are a leader. You may not think you're a leader, but you are. And here's why. Because whenever you have influence, you are a leader. Whenever you have influence in a situation, whether it's at your job if you have influence, whether it's at an organization you have influence, whether it's in your family you have influence, whenever you have influence in your group of friends, you are a leader, because influence is leadership. Influence is leadership. So whenever you have influence, you are a leader. And if you call Impact Church your church home, you have influence here, which means you're a leader here. We're all called to be leaders in some capacity, especially if for some of you that were here on week 1 and you got your Impact car decal and you put it on your car, you have influence on what people think about us by the way you drive your car. So here's what I want to ask you. If you have that on your car, please don't cut anyone off and then give them the bird, and then all of a sudden they're going to see, oh, what's that logo? I'm never going to that church because of that car. Okay, you have influence, so be careful. When you have influence, you are a leader. Now, when I say that, I know what the tendency is we think, well, I'm not a leader because I'm not a boss of anybody. I don't have a title that I am oversee. I'm not a leader here. I don't lead a group here. I don't do anything super special here. I'm not a leader. But here's what you need to understand. When you have influence, you are a leader. And a boss is different than a leader. It's very different. A boss is different than a leader. For years, I thought being a leader was me being bossy. That the bossier I was, then the better leader I was. I thought that. And I remember the first time I got any kind of power and I had people under me that had to report to me, I was like, I need to set the grounds right now. I need to make sure they know the authority that I have, that they answer to me. And I began to boss them around, and that team didn't do anything because I was a boss, but I wasn't actually leading. So really quick, we're going to go over 4 differences between a boss and a leader, because some of us think that if we're a boss, that means we're a leader. It's not true. That's not true. In fact, I think that for a lot of us, including me, we need to fire our inner boss so that we can actually lead. So 4 things, and you can write on your message notes as well. Here's the 4 things. We're going to go over this really quickly. Number 1, a boss instills fear. A leader inspires confidence. A boss instills fear in their organization, in their company, at their job, with their friends, but a leader inspires confidence. And here's what I found. Fear generally leads to inaction, which leads to a lack of confidence, which then leads to a little more fear. When people are just afraid of getting fired or afraid they'll get in trouble if they do something, it leads to inaction. But leaders, they don't lead people by fear. They lead through confidence. Leader inspires confidence in their team and what they stand for and where your organization is going. So number 1, boss instills fear, but a leader inspires confidence. Number 2, a boss assigns blame. A leader takes responsibility. A boss assigns blame. See, this would have happened if this person wouldn't have done that. Yeah, we would have been done on time if it wasn't for this person. A boss puts other people in blame, assigns blame, but a leader does the opposite, takes responsibility. When you're always blaming someone else and blaming others, you're usually avoiding something really important about your own leadership. That's not what you're doing. See, we should be fixing problems, not fixing blame. That's what we should be doing, not fixing blame. So here's some things that I've taught our leadership team, and I've been trying to learn, is that one thing we never try to say, and I want to encourage you in whatever leadership capacity you're in to never say. We should never say, our people won't blank. You know what? Our people they're not going to get here early. Our people aren't going to be able to accomplish this. Our people aren't going to be able to do that. Our people just aren't going to be able to have a strong work ethic. Instead, what we should be saying is, we haven't led our people to do this. When we started Impact Church, I remember I met with a lot of our supporting churches, and I told them that our kind of rule and standard is, if you're serving in any capacity, you're here early. You get here at 8:30 is the latest you get here. We have family service at 9:30, so if you're not scheduled to set up that week, you're not there for 9:30. But every week we have between 15 and 20 people here early setting up. And I had 2 or 3 pastors that said, that's not going to work. Trust me, it's not going to work. At first, when everyone's really excited about the church plant, it will work, and they'll come because they're excited. But I'm telling you, a couple months in, it's not going to work. I had pastors tell me that. And here's why they told me that. They couldn't get anyone to come early at their church. So they told me we couldn't do it. I was like, we'll see. And I'm proud to report that a year in, we have more people coming early than we did when we first started. Different people coming early. See, a boss assigns blame. See, they're not going to do that. That's not going to happen. They're not going to get here early. Where a leader takes responsibility. Number 3, a boss demands loyalty, and a leader extends trust. A boss demands loyalty. No, you need to stay, you need to be loyal, but a leader extends trust. Here's some sayings that I've heard, and you might have heard these sayings. Here's one: loyalty is hard to find, trust is easy to lose. I don't know if you ever heard that saying. Loyalty is hard to find, trust is easy to lose. That's just wrong. It's not true. See, a great leader extends trust up front, which results in loyalty. Here's the one that I know you've all heard. Trust is earned. You earn trust. That's not true either. No, trust is extended. Mistrust is earned, but trust is extended to your teams and to whoever you're influencing. If you have ever had a boss who demand loyalty from you, chances are pretty good that they weren't loyal to you and you didn't seem to trust them. That chance is pretty good. So number 4, the last one, a boss controls people, but a leader empowers people. Boss controls people, but a leader empowers people. You can have control of whatever that is, your family, your friends, your organization, your work, whatever it is. You can have control or you can have growth. You can't have both of it. You can't have both. See, a boss tries to control every person and micromanages and figures out exactly what he wants to happen or she wants to happen, but a leader empowers people to do something. If you are empowering people, you are giving them responsibilities, not just tasks. See, tasks train them that what they need to do, but responsibilities empowers them to lead. There are things that happen here that are only happen because other people were empowered to make the decisions. Our check-in process when we first started wasn't very good because I told them what they had to do. And then we had people that said, hey, I think we should do it this way. And I said, all right, go ahead. And it's a lot better because I did not tell them what to do, but they felt empowered enough to do it. See, a boss controls people, but a leader empowers people. So where do we get this idea of leadership that we've been talking about and these different traits that we've just talked about compared to a boss? Where do we get this from? It's from a leadership model that you probably know called servant leadership. Most of you have heard of servant leadership, right? And servant leadership comes from our example of Jesus in the Bible. That's where it comes from. So if you have your Bibles, you can open up to Mark chapter 10. We'll be in Mark chapter 10. And we're going to I'm going to talk about a great example of Jesus showing servant leadership. And then I'm going to give a very, very practical leadership model for you to take home. And you can use in any area that you have influence. And then we'll get out of here, okay? So Mark chapter 10, starting in verse 35. It'll be up on the screen if you don't have your Bibles as well. Starting in verse 35. Then James and John, the sons of Zebedee, came to him. Teacher, they said, we want you to do for us whatever we ask. What do you want me to do for you? He asked. And I kind of read that last statement that Jesus said a little bit sarcastically. And here's why I read it. And I'm reading into this. This is not okay, it's not scholar. This is my opinion. Right before this, both Mark and Matthew record that Jesus just told his disciples that he was going to be betrayed, he was going to die, and then 3 days later come back to life. Right before this. And James and John, who are disciples, their reply is, okay, that's great, Jesus. Can you do me a favor? So I know if it was me, I'd be like, okay, what can we do? What can I do for you after I just told you I'm going to be betrayed, died, and then come back to life? What can I do for you, James and John? Continue on in verse 37. They replied, let one of us sit at your right and the other at your left in glory, in your glory. This is super arrogant. They're asking that at the end when they're in heaven, hey, James, I want you to sit on the left and can I sit on the right of you? I want to be up there with everybody else. That's how we want to be. Can we please sit on the left and right? This is super, super arrogant. Basically, James and John are very good self-promoters. I don't know if you know what a self-promoter is. Self-promoter is really good at telling you about how good they are. And here's what is sad to me, and I kind of don't like this trait, and I try to avoid this trait at all costs, but you've probably seen this. The people that are really good at telling you how good they are at things, they seem to kind of get places in life sometimes, don't they? Like at their jobs, you don't want to be arrogant, so you like kind of keep that down, but that person who's really good at telling other people about how good they are, they tell their boss, and then their boss goes, okay, well, I'm going to bring you up. It's like, well, I do that too. I'm just not very good at telling you about it. I'm not that arrogant. For me, that trait is a trait that I try to avoid. And I believe that if I was a better self-promoter, that some things I do in life would be a lot better. Like I do a podcast with my brother, and we both hate being self-promoters. If I was a better self-promoter, we'd be a bigger podcast. I really believe that. I think our church should be a lot more people because if I was a better self-promoter. But here's what I found with self-promoters. They're really good at they're really good at promoting themselves because there's no one that's a bigger fan of themselves than themselves. So they can really tell you how good of the job they're doing because they're the biggest fan of themselves. So James and John here, they're being self-promoters, and they're saying, hey, we want to be at the left and right of you. And they are in front of all the other disciples. They're just sitting there going like, what? Why do you two get to be up there? We're right here. And then, continue on in verse 38. Listen how Jesus replies. You don't know what you're asking, Jesus said. Can you drink the cup I drink or be baptized with the baptism I am baptized with? Like, you don't even know what you're asking. And listen to how arrogant James and John are. They reply back, we can. We can do that. Yeah, we're done. We're in. We can do that. I'm telling you, we can do it. They just keep going. Then Jesus said to them, you will drink the cup I drink and be baptized with the baptism I am baptized with. But to sit on my right or left is not for me to grant. These places belong to those for whom they have been prepared. He says, listen, you can follow me. You can do that. But following me isn't going to be easy. The cup that I'm going to take, that you're going to need to take, no one else is going to want to take that cup. You don't know what you're asking when you say, we can do that. But he says, but at the end of the day, it's not up to me who sits to my left and right. And it really shouldn't be your concern anyway. 21 verse 41. When the 10 heard about this, they became indignant with James and John. They're like, what? Why? We're right here. They became indignant. Jesus called them together and said, you know that those who are regarded as rulers of the Gentiles lord it over them, and their high officials exercise authority over them. Not so with you. Instead, whoever wants to become great among you must be your servant, and whoever wants to be first must be slave to all. Here's what he says. You know the rulers, you know the religious leaders that they are above and they treat you like they're above you. They treat you like they're a boss. You know those people, right? They treat you like that. You're not going to do that. No. Instead, you're going to lead by lifting everybody else up. Everyone's going to be better and feel more important because you're around. You're going to put yourself and your needs aside so that you can lift somebody else up. That's how you're going to lead. You're not going to be a boss. You're going to be a servant leader. See, Jesus didn't teach servant leadership. He also modeled it. The last verse, verse 45. For even the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve, and to give his life as a ransom for many. So let me ask you a question. If Jesus, the greatest leader of all time, if Jesus came to serve everyone he was around, to serve us, how arrogant do we need to be to think that we don't have to serve the people that we lead? If Jesus came to serve. Why do we think we need to be a boss? All of us are called to be leaders. When you have influence, you are called to be a leader, and all of us are called to follow Jesus' example and become a servant leader. So for the rest of our time, I'm going to give you a little demonstration here. I'm going to draw it on this board. I have terrible handwriting, and I'm not the best drawer, so in fact, I even asked Topper to draw this line for me because I knew my line would be all crooked, okay? He did a great job too. Okay, so I'm going to give you two different leadership styles that we see. And these leadership styles, I learned this from Donnie Smith, who used to be the former CEO of Tyson Foods. So if you think this is awesome, it's because I didn't make it up, okay? I'm borrowing this. I learned it from him. There's two different leadership styles. There's one that is the most popular leadership style, and there's one that's the most effective. So the first one is a pyramid, we're going to call it. See how crooked that pyramid is? See, good thing I didn't draw that line. Pyramid. Here in this pyramid leadership style, here's what we normally see. We see up top, we see the CEO, or whoever's the leader of the company. We will see the VP maybe directors after that. After directors, you might see a manager, and then you'll see an assistant manager, and then all the way at the bottom, we have the workers, the people that work for a living, right? So at the top is the CEO and right on down. This is most organizationals, this is what most organizations run in some kind of capacity. You might not have these titles, but they have one person that's kind of over top of it, maybe 3 VPs or whatever you want to call them, a couple more directors, things like that. That's what most organizations do. If you ever heard the saying, climbing the corporate ladder, that's what this is, right? You can almost even make a ladder here. This is climbing the corporate ladder, that if maybe you're a worker, you want to one day become an assistant manager, and then you want to become a manager, you want to climb up the corporate ladder. That's how most organizations are structured. We all know that, right? And it's not a bad thing, that's how they're structured. However, if we start to take our leadership style based on our organizational structure, that's when we enter into a lot of problems. Because the problem becomes that when we base our leadership style on that organizational chart, which most companies do, we start to base our worth on where we are on the pyramid. I'll give you an example. Maybe you're a VP here, and compared to an assistant manager, you think, okay, well, I make more money than them, I have a better title, I have more responsibilities, maybe I have a company car, I get more vacation than they do, so the company values me more, right? And because they value me more, maybe it's because I'm more valuable than the assistant managers. That's why, because I am more important to this company. You see how that mentality comes, right? That when we start to have our leadership style based on this, we start to think our value and our worth is determined on this. And here's the hard part, and here's what happens when we do that. It creates two things. Fear and pride. Fear and pride. Because if you have this leadership model, what's the worst thing that can happen to you? You're here, and all of a sudden you become here. You're terrified of anything happening, so you have to make sure you have the right leadership model. And what is all that? All that's pride. It's putting our self-worth based on where we are on this pyramid. This is the most popular leadership style, but the problem with it, it's all about self. It's all about you. It's all about you getting higher in the company. It's all about you getting higher in your organization. It's all about you. That's not the model Jesus teaches us. Instead, Jesus gives us what we're going to call peach tree, okay? So let me draw my peach tree. Hold on, okay. Turned 34, it's harder to bend down now, okay? Okay. Harder when I'm holding the mic, hold on, okay? I don't have red or orange, so it's going to be purple peaches today. Yeah, we can call it the plum tree, I guess, but there we go. Okay. So here we go. Here's our peach tree model. Here in the peach tree, the higher up you are, the lower on the tree you are. So maybe you're a CEO, you're a VP of a company. All of a sudden now you are all the way down here because your job is to support and help the peaches, plums, whatever you want to call it, to support those and make sure that they grow. That you take yourself And your job is to be the roots. And that as long as these peaches are growing, then man, we are doing something successful. We are doing a great job. So up here, the CEO is up at the top. The peach tree, you're as low as you can possibly get because your job is to support the peaches. The higher you are in the organization, the lower you are on the tree. So you do everything you can to support, to make sure that these peaches, who are the workers, who are the ones that are accomplishing the mission, those people, that they feel valued, that they feel loved, and that they feel like they can get the job done. And Peachtree, this model produces two things: confidence and humility. Confidence and humility. See, the star of the pyramid is what? What's the star of the pyramid? All the way at the top, the CEO. That is the star, that's where everything shines. But the star of the peach tree are the peaches. So the higher up you get and the more value the company gives you, or the organization gives you, or wherever you are, the more value you feel. Instead, you don't say, I have more value because I'm important. With my responsibilities, I'm gonna do whatever I can to make sure that the peaches shine. So a great example of this, and I know this is a very Christian example, but it's true, so I don't care, is Chick-fil-A. It's a great example of this, of using the Peachtree model. Some of you guys, we have some people that work at Chick-fil-A here, right? When you work at Chick-fil-A, you've gone to Chick-fil-A, you've probably gone and tried to get the different sandwiches, right? The Popeye sandwich, which did anyone ever eat that Popeye sandwich? No, nobody. It was never anywhere. But first off, I don't have to eat it to know the Chick-fil-A sandwich is better, okay? I don't even have to eat it. But when you go to Chick-fil-A, what are they known for at Chick-fil-A besides just having a really good chicken sandwich? For a fast food place, what are they known for? They're so nice. Like, you go there like, man, they're so, like, you don't get that treatment at McDonald's, do you? You don't get that treatment anywhere else. When you go there, it's like, man, they like care about me, man. They want to make me feel valued. And here's why that happens, because the leadership at Chick-fil-A, they use the Peachtree model. Like, our goal is to make sure that the peaches feel loved and supported and that they feel like they can do whatever they can, so that when we ask them to accomplish the mission, when we ask them to do that, then they're able to do it. See, we think all that about Chick-fil-A because the people that work there, the workers, show that mission, right? See, the CEOs and everyone down low, they make sure that the peaches shine. That's what they do. So let me ask you a question. If you're part of any organization or any job, if you went to an employee, or if I went to an employee there, and I asked them, hey, what do you need? Like, is there anything you need, like, to feel more supported, to feel like you're empowered more, to feel loved? Do you need anything to make your job a little better? What are the odds that at your job or company that they're going to say, I don't need anything. I'm good to go. I got everything I need. I am perfectly qualified and ready to go. Very slim to none, right? Most likely at your company, they're going to be like, no, I kind of need some stuff. But what if we changed our leadership model and we changed it here, and we took it back to our jobs, to our families, and to our friends, and we changed it where we all of a sudden became the lowest? Servant leadership. We became the roots of the tree so that the peaches could shine. Then, that is when people can start to feel like, you know what? I am valued. I am loved. And when you feel that way, you can be more efficient, you can be more effective, and you can accomplish the mission better. What organization would you rather be a part of? The self one or the serving one? The Peachtree, every time. That's the organization you would rather be a part of. See, servant leadership is always better than self-leadership. Servant leadership is always better than self-leadership. It's always better. So here's what I ask you. What type of leader are you? Are you one of these leaders who operate out of fear and pride? Who take your value on where you are on the pyramid, and you treat everybody below you on the pyramid as less than because that's where your value is? Is that the kind of leader you are? Or are you a leader that says, I'm going to push myself down in order to make the organization better so that the peaches can shine? What type of leader are you? What type of leader are you in your family? Are you a leader in your family that operates out of this? Fear and pride? No, you got to respect me. You better watch what you do. Fear and pride, because you want to feel like you're in charge and you're powerful, or you're a servant leader in your family. Do whatever it takes to support the family. What kind of leader are you? What kind of leader are you at work? Hey, you better respect me. Hey, you better be careful. Hey, remember who's in charge here? Or do you operate with confidence and humility in your work? What kind of leader are you here at Impact? Is it all about you and what you want? And you operate out of this, fear and pride? Or do you come in with confidence and humility? Because when you have influence, you are a leader. It's easy to see this and go, okay, well, I don't work at a company that worries about that, or I don't work at a company, so I can just throw this away. I'm telling you, you need to start learning this now, because Jesus modeled this of a servant leader. That if we operate out of fear and pride, it's all about us. But if we operate out of confidence and humility, and our goal is to lift other people up, we are following Jesus' example. We are following his example to put others above us, to be a servant leader. Mark chapter 10, 43 through 45 says, whoever wants to become great among you must be your servant. And whoever wants to be first must be slave of all. For even the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve, and to give his life as a ransom for many. Let's pray. Dear God, I thank you for coming to us, to our level. Send your Son for us. That even though we don't deserve it, that you came and you saved us because you love us so much that all you want is a relationship with us, and that all we have to do is accept your grace through your Son's death, to repent of our sins and to follow you. God, thank you for giving us the best example we have of leadership. I pray that for whoever's in this room, whether they have a high position at a company or whether they don't work anywhere, that you help them to realize that they are a leader because they have influence in their family and their friends here at Impact, their companies, and that you call us to be a servant leader, not a leader that's worried about ourselves. Like you said, it's what the rulers do. God, help us to put this into practice. Help us to put others first by the way we lead them. God, thank you for giving us and empowering us to lead people. And I pray that you help us to not make it about ourselves, but to make it all about you. Thank you for giving us the best example of leadership we could have. Help us to enter into whatever it is you have in front of us to be that leader you call us to be. We love you. In your Son's name, amen. And guys, well, we're going to close this entire series with our theme song that we've been playing this entire series. If you've been here, you've heard it. So I want to invite you to stand up and have us sing this song together.